Today we're going to be talking about microneedling. It's been such a long time, and I am here to answer your most frequently asked questions. If you stumbled upon this video and you don't know much about microneedling, this is a skincare treatment that I've done at home over the last few years, and it has really transformed the health and appearance of my skin. And I'm going to share some before and after photos here, and I'll link to a full video down below that shares all of my results, in depth with the close-ups. This is a minimally invasive treatment that uses a pen device which contains a cartridge which is disposable, and that cartridge is going to contain a bunch of tiny needles. When you use this, it creates micro injuries to your skin, triggering a healing response and process that produces more collagen and elastin. So microneedling can be used to treat a bunch of different skin concerns like fine lines and wrinkles, acne scars, stretch marks, enlarged pores, hyperpigmentation, melasma, and it's really great for uneven skin tone and texture. As a disclosure, I am not a medical professional. I'm just sharing with you what I've learned based on my experiences and my research. I will share links to additional resources down below that could help you if you want more professional guidance. With that aside, let's get into the frequently asked questions. How do you sterilize the cartridge? You do not sterilize the cartridge when you're using a microneedling pen at home. It is just never recommended to reuse the cartridge. I know people want to, save money, but even when you're doing one single treatment, the needles are going to get a little bit more dull after the first and only use. So when you're doing the treatment, a recommendation I have, or something that I personally do, is I try to prepare to do as much as possible. It's a great idea while you've got this cartridge, while it's still sharp and new. So for me, I'll do my face. And in the past, I didn't always do my neck, but I try to do my neck from now on. And then if I'm really motivated and feeling it, I will also do my hands. And that's a great way to take advantage of the fact that you've opened up a new cartridge and you want to really get a full use out of it. Can I use it around the eyes? Well, I do. Personally, I use it around my eyes. The only issue I have is that the end of the needle cartridge is quite large, and it's harder for me to get it into this hollowed out area, or this, this area right here. I'd love to get it as close as possible. It's very hard to do that. And from my research, most professionals don't recommend going deeper than 0.5 millimeters under the eye area. And I just have a hard time getting it to lay flat right here because of the shape of my face. So it's tricky. It's difficult, but I try to do the area around my eyes, and I also do the area here. One question that I get asked pretty much all the time is how much pressure should be applied when microneedling. I don't apply pressure. I just make sure that the needle cartridge is flat against my skin. That's it. I really don't apply any pressure, and there are areas that are very sensitive for me, like my forehead. I know for sure I'm barely pushing on it at all because it's so sensitive that it hurts, like I said. And another question people are asking about the pain. In the beginning, it can be kind of painful, or very painful, you guys, and your face might get very, very red. Everyone is different, so that may not happen to you. And in the beginning, my face got insanely red and lasted that way for several hours. Nowadays, when I do a treatment, sometimes my skin barely gets red, sometimes it's red for 30 minutes. It varies, but when it comes to the pain, the only thing I can compare it to now is that it reminds me of when I first plucked my eyebrows, tweezed my eyebrows when I was a teenager at some point, and I thought it was so incredibly painful. And now when I do it, I feel nothing. That's how I feel about microneedling. It's not that I feel nothing now, but the amount of pain that I feel compared to how much pain I felt when I first did a treatment, there's no comparison. I don't feel that much pain. It does really hurt though in some areas and around my eyes. For microneedling anti-aging, what cartridge do you use? 16 cartridge? What speed and what depth? So I do share this in all my videos, but for me personally, I've just always purchased the 16 needle cartridge. It works really well for me, and I use it at the highest speed, which is 5. The depth I normally do is 0.5 millimeters. I feel like that's a safe depth, but in areas where I have lines and wrinkles, I will go to 1.5. I don't do it excessively. I just do it in a few, key areas where I'm trying to prevent lines and wrinkles. Do we have to do the entire face, or is it okay to just work on problematic areas? It's totally fine to not do the whole face, But if you're using a cartridge, you're opening it up and this cartridge costs money, you might want to do a treatment on the whole face. I would, at least at a lower depth. Does it help with pores, blackheads, and texture as well? I believe for me that it did help with all three of those things. The other thing is though, it depends. It depends on the person and what skincare products you're using. I've noticed really great improvements with my pores and blackheads if I'm using something like a glycolic acid toner, specifically the one from Good Molecules. It's made a big difference in the appearance of my pores and of blackheads around here. I feel like doing one single thing isn't really often enough. It could really help to use products that contain glycolic acid or even salicylic acid to try to deal with issues of pores. But overall, even with saying that, I did notice a great improvement in my pores from microneedling. It's just that everybody's different and you might want to check out a couple different options, try a couple different things. And there's lots of great products out there to try out that contain glycolic acid. And I do have other videos on that. Would you say you've seen the most results with microneedling? For me, it's a toss-up between microneedling and peels. I have seen such great results from both things. And the only reason I've seen these results is because I've done both of them over time. I can't really say that I've seen the most results from microneedling because it's like an even toss-up between the microneedling and chemical peels. I love them both though a lot. My face is well healed after 3 weeks using the 0.5 millimeter depth. Does everyone wait 4 weeks before the next treatment as you do? Just curious. Now that is just a recommendation from the experts, is to wait 4 weeks in between treatments. And even when you have one treatment, from what I've read, it takes many months for collagen to be produced, for a lot of the positive changes to take effect. So people shouldn't expect like overnight results or even results from the first few treatments. It takes some time before you're going to see significant results, in my opinion, or just my experiences. And I personally will definitely wait at least 4 weeks before doing another treatment because I don't want to like cause any harm to my skin. Can it cause hyperpigmentation after microneedling? So this is something from my research, which I've read is very, very rare. And microneedling is said to be safe for people of all skin tones, skin types. Microneedling by itself, it regulates and normalizes pigmentation formation. It does not do the opposite. And according to the research, if you do develop a hyperpigmentation issue after doing microneedling, it is often due to other influencing factors. And so I will link to the full article down below for anybody interested in that. Do not do microneedling if you are ill or if you're prone to cold sores. Please take preventative measures before doing microneedling because it could definitely trigger that in some people. For some people, they notice that their skin looks worse after microneedling. The day after microneedling, and maybe 1 to 3 days total after microneedling, my face doesn't look very good. It doesn't look that bad. It's just noticeable probably only to me. And sometimes my skin looks a little blotchy and just not the best for a few days. But then after that, I'm good to go. Nobody would know. I do have a full video sharing my full experience and the aftermath of it. In the beginning, when I did a treatment, I used to do like my whole face at 0.5 and then I would go back in later and treat other areas of concern, areas that had wrinkles, fine lines, stuff like that. I don't recommend that, at least for me. I personally don't ever do that anymore. When I'm microneedling, I'm doing a section at a time. And the reason I do this is because I've noticed that your skin creates an inflammatory process that starts right as you're doing the treatment. So if I do this area and then I start going into another area, my skin's getting inflamed. It's going to get more sore and more sensitive up here the more I'm working on other stuff. Like if I were to go back to this area, it's way more sensitive and I don't think that's good for me personally. I don't think that's good for my skin. It's like too much inflammation. While I'm initially working on this area, if I need to go a little deeper, I just change the settings on the pen and I go over the line or the wrinkle at a deeper setting, and then that's it. And then I move on, and then I work on the next area. I never go back to treat an area again. You're creating too much inflammation and it really hurts. So that's it for today's Q&A. If you guys would like me to do a live Q&A about microneedling, skincare, or whatever it is, just let me know down below and I'm gonna set something up.